Go love your own enemies. Don't be loving mine. My enemies are the theocratic fascists. I don't love them. I want to destroy them.
You're a child made in the image of God. Oh no, you're not. You're a faggot. And you can't join your church and you can't go to heaven. This is disgraceful. It's inhuman.
I've been wanting to put together a video for a while, and I've been putting it off because I have so many feelings right now. I don't even know how to put it all into words. The things that are crossing my mind that I never thought in my lifetime would cross my mind. And I don't write scripts when I put together videos. I don't have a nice little speech that I do, well prepared and rehearsed. I just say what I think. No fancy effects, which is why I don't have a zillion subscribers on YouTube. I'm just too old. Too old to learn the technology or whatever. Or maybe it's that I can't afford the technology to make the fancy videos. But I say what I feel, and sometimes I say it's stupidly. Sometimes it comes out wrong. Sometimes it takes me 40 minutes to say something that a clever person could say in 5. Hopefully this won't be one of those videos. I've posted a lot of anti-Islam videos on my page, on my channel, because I oppose Islam. I oppose the oppression and the sex discrimination and the bigotry and the intolerance that Islam represents. Very much the same things that Christianity represent. I oppose these things. But you can oppose Islam without having a phobia, which is an irrational, being the key word here, irrational. No, I said it wrong. Irrational. Fear or hatred of something. That's a phobia. You can oppose Islam. You can be against what Islam stands for without having a phobia. I'm referring to the made-up word Islamophobia, which we hear constantly. I don't appreciate labels like that. A person can be against Islam and oppose Islam without having a phobia. And the same is true that a person can be against what Islam stands for and opposed to what Islam stands for without desiring Muslims to be persecuted against or discriminated against or treated unfairly just because of what they believe. When people say Islamophobe, they need to use words that are real, that are actually in the dictionary. Words like discrimination and persecution, bigotry. We don't need a made-up word that villainizes every single person who is against or opposes Islam, because there are perfectly rational reasons to oppose Islam. So it is not a phobia. And it is possible to be a nice person and oppose a religion or what it stands for without feeling the desire for people to be hurt or maligned or discriminated against or persecuted against. I feel none of these things toward Muslims. I do not believe Muslims should be singled out and persecuted and discriminated against and have their names put on a list. I don't believe that Muslims should have to walk around with something sewn on their chest. What's going on in my country right now is so appallingly similar to what happened to the Jews in Nazi Germany. It's incredibly scary. Right now, I feel like there is so much hate in my country that I don't want to put up any more anti-Islam videos. I don't approve of Islam. I am against Islam. But there is so much hate in my country building right now that I don't want to be in any way, shape, or form contributing or fueling that hatred. And if my videos where I am expressing my opinion of the harm that Islam causes has helped to fuel the hate that I see now building in my country, I'm very sorry for my part for contributing. That was never my intention. Fueling hatred has never been my intention. My hope has always been to create awareness, to maybe possibly make somebody think twice about the things that they adhere to and believe in. Because our beliefs are part of our identity, are they not? What is happening in my country has left me to the point where I don't even know how to express the fact that a man who clearly has no grasp of what America, the plaque that sits at the feet of the Statue of Liberty, or actually never visited the Statue of Liberty, but there's a plaque. I don't think he's ever read it. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. What does that mean? That message of hope? This message that calls to the desperate, like a lighthouse to a stricken ship. Donald Trump has never read that plaque. He has never really thought about the words that we say when we pledge our allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. United States. 50 states, 50 stars representing the 50 states united in one flag, in one symbol of the united, not divided, united States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, meaning impossible to divide, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. How many times do we get angry when somebody doesn't stand for the pledge, or somebody doesn't put their hand over their chest for the pledge? That just outrages some Americans. It just makes them livid. But do they really ever think about the words that they blather when they stand and put their hands over their heart? With liberty and justice for all. It doesn't say for white males only. There's nothing in there about white people being superior to black people, or Jews, or Muslims, or straight people being superior to gay people, or one religion being superior over another religion. There is nothing of that in our Pledge of Allegiance. It's all about our undivided nation. It's all about liberty and justice for all. A Muslim who's put on a list, registered because they're Muslim, is that justice if no other people of other religions are put on lists? Only the ones that believe in Islam are going to be registered. Christians, they don't get registered. Hindus, no. Buddhists, no. Atheists, no. Just Muslims. Is that justice? And freedom. Donald Trump is anti-freedom of speech. Donald Trump is anti-freedom to protest and to march. Donald Trump is anti-freedom of the press. Donald Trump is anti the U.S. Constitution. Donald Trump is anti-American. I grew up in the Cold War. I remember when Russia was our enemies. I remember when it was a bad thing to be a commie lover. And now suddenly our next president is buddy-buddy with Putin. We have just had a covert invasion of our country. That's what has happened here in America now. We have been invaded by Russia. We have a puppet with Putin manipulating the strings, about to become our president. We have had an illegitimate election with somebody who was manipulated into winning that election. Somebody was handicapped to the point where they couldn't win. Although, interesting, we're almost up to 3 million people now. 3 million more people in my country voted for Hillary Clinton. But that doesn't count. I grew up with this message. I heard it my entire life. Every vote counts. Oh, Diane, you must vote, because every vote counts. Suddenly now 3 million votes more don't count. Oh, but Donald Trump would say that that's all fabrication. Those are illegal aliens. It's funny, you know, another thing I grew up hearing was you tend to project whatever flaws you have as a person. People have a tendency to project their flaws onto other people. Isn't it funny how all the things that Donald Trump accused Hillary Clinton of apply to him? All the things that he accused her of, he is guilty of. And he has done. The election is rigged, he said. Oh, except if he wins, it's not rigged. It's just, that's a lie. It's not rigged if he wins. It's only rigged if she wins. Now I know I can hear myself. I'm starting to blather, ramble, whatever. But I am in fear of the future. I'm in fear of China dropping a nuclear bomb on top of us because Donald Trump thinks he's too smart. He doesn't need intelligence briefings. The daily briefings that presidents sit in on and to basically learn the job and learn the state of what's going on in the country that particular day. He doesn't feel that he needs to sit in on those meetings. He's just so smart. And because he doesn't bother to learn the Constitution, he can step all over the Constitution. And every single person he's picked to be in his cabinet or whatever is anti some kind of freedom. They're either anti-freedom for atheists and Buddhists and Muslim and Hindu and Jewish parents to send their kids off to a school and not have to worry if they're going to be exposed to Christianity. He's picked somebody who's anti that, who thinks that public schools should not exist and that all schools should dole out Christianity and only Christianity, no other religion. In America, where we're supposed to have separation of church and state. There should be some way for an atheist or a Jewish or a Hindu or a Muslim parent to feel confident that when they send their child to school, they're not going to be exposed to a belief system that they disagree with. But apparently no, in America we're going to have somebody who's pushing for the end of public schools, and we're only going to have Christian schools. And people who have children who they would like to see not be exposed to Christianity won't have a choice anymore. Yeah, we have somebody in the cabinet. I'm probably saying these terms wrong. I'm not a politician. But the people that Trump is picking for his team. We have somebody who's anti-gays. And we have lots of people in there that are anti-gays, anti-rights for gays, anti-rights for gay couples to get married, even though every other kind of couple can get married. Just gay couples can't. We have people who think that it's bad for women to be working. We have a lot of Christians. We have a lot of very fundamental type Christians in Trump's little team that are anti so much of what we have fought for my lifetime. The right for a woman to have some say over what happens to her body. And Trump is like, it's not so bad, ladies. If you want an abortion and your state won't let you, you just trundle off to some other state and have an abortion. Except a lot of those women that want abortions because they can't afford to have children. And they can't afford to go to some other state and have an abortion because they're too poor. You know, I think something that Donald Trump needs to do before he could even remotely have a clue as far as running this country. He needs to come to a city like Los Angeles or San Francisco or Seattle and take a job that pays minimum wage and be given an apartment of the kind that somebody on minimum wage can afford, which means he'd be living in a cardboard box because nobody on minimum wage can afford an apartment. They'd have to actually be working 3 jobs on minimum wage to afford an apartment. But Donald Trump thinks that the minimum wage right now is too high and people are making too much money. Isn't it interesting how we're going to cut the taxes for the super rich and not for the poor and middle class, but the middle class and the poor, they're making, well, actually, it would be the poor if we're talking minimum wage, are making too much money. I'd like to see Donald Trump live for 1 month in any city that has a higher cost of living on minimum wage. I'd love to see him do it. Just 1 month. Just living off of minimum wage. 1 job, 8 hours a day. Or, you know, if he really wants to, let him do two jobs making minimum wage. And still, let's see him try to live off of that. Oh, but he knows so much. And he's so in touch with ordinary people. Yeah, we're going to take away Social Security. I've been paying into Social Security my entire life. Involuntarily. You don't get a choice. They just take the money from your paycheck. And the promise is when it's your turn to be old and unlimited, have a less ability to work because you're old, you'll have some kind of assistance from the government that you helped contribute, the society that you helped contribute to your whole life. Now we're talking about getting rid of Social Security. We're just going to get rid of it now. Well, you know what? You took money from, I'm talking to my new president, Trump. You took money from my paychecks, every single paycheck, since I've been 15 years old, that I didn't have any say about. You just took my money. And if you're going to get rid of Social Security and I don't get to reap 1 single penny of the benefits from all the money you took from my paychecks, you're going to owe me every single penny that you have taken from my paychecks. And while we're on the subject of money, I have a real hard time imagining myself paying taxes for the next 4 years. Federal taxes. I mean, why should I? My leader says that it's smart to not pay taxes. He hasn't paid taxes for like 18 years, and he's a billionaire. You know, he can actually afford to pay taxes. I'm barely making ends meet. It's hard for me to pay taxes, so why should I? If Donald Trump doesn't have to, why should I? Why should anybody? Anyway, this is, like I said, a stream of conscious kind of video. I'm just saying things that pop into my mind. I think Trump is a traitor to this country. I think that his election was illegitimate. He had a faction of the FBI manipulating the strings a week before to deliberately sabotage Hillary Clinton's chances. Fake news to sabotage Hillary Clinton's chances. The FBI possibly involved with the Russia thing too. I don't know. But Russia definitely involved with pulling the strings to get Trump elected. 87, fascinating to think that 87 voting machines in Detroit, Michigan just happened to break on election day. 87 machines broke on election day. And there's like 5 machines that were tampered with in, I don't remember what part of Wisconsin it was. Padded votes, suppressed votes in North Carolina, where there just weren't that much accessibility for minorities to get to vote. Suppressed votes. Lost votes. Oh, but it's a fair election. Sure. See, that's just it. It isn't a fair election. It was a tampered with election. And what's absurd is my country expects Americans to accept the result of this tampered with, meddled with, sabotaged election that was basically manipulated by an aggressive, hostile enemy country, which is Russia. We have Russia's candidate as our president-elect. We have Putin's puppet as our president-elect. Russia has invaded our country covertly. As far as I'm concerned, our country is at war right now. And it would be really nice if we actually treated it like it was, behaved as if we were at war, and recognized our enemies as what they are. Enemies. Donald Trump, he's an enemy of the United States of America. He's a traitor. I don't even think he likes his country. I certainly believe that he has no love for poor people or middle-class people or working people or all those overweight, frumpy-looking mothers who are waving the Trump signs at the Trump conventions that I've seen, the Trump rallies supporting him. Oh yeah, the Latino women that support Trump. Oh yeah, I'm sure Trump really loves you. Have you ever noticed that whenever you see a picture of Trump, he's surrounded by gorgeous Playboy bunny type women? They all look kind of the same. You know, if you ever remember, if you're old enough to remember cutout dolls, paper dolls, you cut them out, you put paper clothes on them. They all kind of have the same face and the same shape. Really long legs, kind of, just, I don't know, they just all kind of look the same. And that's what Trump surrounds himself with. It's like, really? You have a problem with women who are ordinary? Actually, he doesn't. He says he does. He actually comes out and says that he prefers women who are beautiful to women who are not. At his recent speech, I didn't listen to it because honestly I stopped being able to listen to Trump months ago. But when he went on his little thing, he just got Person of the Year from Time magazine, and if you read the article, it isn't very flattering. And it's not because he was a wonderful person that he got that Person of the Year, whatever. But he goes on this little speech about how, wouldn't it be better if it's Man of the Year? Remember the good old days when Time magazine talked about the Man of the Year, not the person? Shouldn't we go back to that? Wasn't it so much better when it was the Man of the Year instead of the Person of the Year? Yeah, the good old days when women were not recognized at all for their achievements. When it was only a man's world and women just were those unnamed, oh, this is Mr. So-and-so and his wife. Let's go back to those days when women were just like little accessories that the men wore, more or less. Not actual people. Not people who deserve to be recognized for their accomplishments. Not people who actually deserve to reach their potential and realize their dreams. But just things put on the earth for men. It's all about men. We want to see the Man of the Year every year. We don't want to see a woman on the cover of Time magazine. I'm sorry. On so many levels, Donald Trump absolutely disgusts me. It disgusts me, and it saddens me, and it scares me, and it upsets me that I see so much hatred rising in my country. I see people doing the Nazi fucking salute with pride. You know, I remember when Hitler was considered a bad guy. I remember when what the Nazis did to the Jews was considered a bad thing. Now suddenly we have a president who panders to mass murderers, who kill people and under the disguise of calling it law. We have a president who admires Hitler and dictators and encourages hate crimes. I saw an article about a biracial couple who came home and their house was absolutely destroyed. They had poured cement down the sinks and the tub drains. They had painted swastika signs on all the walls. They had poured paint inside their oven. I mean, everything that you can possibly imagine was done to this house to basically render it beyond. I mean, they would have had to fix every single thing in that house. They lost their house because of Trump. Do you think Mr. Billionaire is going to reimburse them for the damage caused by his message that he has spread around this country? Do you think the people who have been attacked since his election and even before are going to get compensated for their losses? People have actually died because of Trump. He, in my opinion, is responsible for the murders that have happened in his name. I live in a country that I can no longer feel any pride in. I live in a country that is no longer the leader of this world in democracy. I live in a divided United States of America. And the pledge has no meaning anymore. And the U.S. Constitution has no meaning anymore. And people wake up in the morning and their freedoms aren't just there anymore. We have a president who mocks everything that America is supposed to stand for, that our founding fathers envisioned when they started this country. We have a president who doesn't care about anything except his ego. He doesn't care about our lives. He will recklessly insult nuclear countries in this world, countries that have nuclear weapons. He will recklessly insult. Never mind the fact that they might just use those nuclear weapons and cause a whole bunch of us to die. He doesn't care. All he cares about is his ego. And how many pats on the back he gets. Oh, and if you say anything nasty about him, you might get death threats from his hordes of followers. Or maybe from himself, because it's getting to the point where he feels that he can even do stuff like that. He's above the law, didn't you know? He's above the law. The Constitution doesn't apply to Donald Trump. Our laws don't apply to Donald Trump. If they did, he would be either killed right now or imprisoned for being a traitor to this country. But we're going to ignore the fact that he has committed treason. We're going to ignore the fact that Russia, a foreign, aggressive, hostile country, decided our president for us. We're going to ignore it. And we're just supposed to accept it, that this is our leader now. We're just supposed to meekly accept, just like a little sheep, and not kick up a fuss. Oh, and if we do kick up a fuss, ooh, we're those sore loser Democrats, and we should just get over it and move on and accept. Yeah, like Republicans got over and moved on and accepted Obama. Right. That's the most amazing part about it, is they ask Democrats to do what they never could do. You don't like it when Democrats start acting like Republicans. Interesting. Only Republicans get to act that way? Only Republicans get to, oh, if Trump doesn't win, we're going to start a war. If Trump doesn't win, there's going to be bloodshed. If Trump doesn't win, we're going to build militias in our backyard. Yeah, that's okay for Republicans to do. But when the shoe's on the other foot, how would Republicans feel if Trump lost and Hillary Clinton won? Even though Trump got 3 million more votes than Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton won, and we have proof now that Russia helped Hillary Clinton win. How would Republicans be acting right now if the shoe was on the other foot?